program. And, some people looked at who was going to be here and they were like, you have two black, folks from Snohomish County that are electeds that are Democrat. What is the differences here? They're going to agree on the same thing. And I'm like, no, they're not. But so that being said, what are some topics within the legislature that you feel like you are not necessarily on the same page on, but try to work together across those differences that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. As a party and also as a people, we're not a monolith. And so I constantly say that to people. I do have to just, before I jump into the answer, our Legislative Black Caucus is 11 members strong, 9 in the House and 2 in the Senate. It is amazing to serve with so many colleagues that look like me, but we're not a monolith. And that goes for me and the senator as well. And so I think, we might, in some areas, law enforcement, listening to your experience in law enforcement, your lived experience, very different than mine. I'm a mom who's been on 2 school boards. I call myself a recovering school board director. There is life after school boards, just for those of you who are wondering. But I look at things like policing in our school maybe a little bit differently than the senator, because I come from a different lived experience. Sitting on boards, thinking about not only the cost, but the over surveillance and the over policing of our Black and brown children. But you're bringing that law enforcement tinge to it. So there are definitely areas where you're going to see us kind of veer in terms of what's decisions that we make for our community.
I would think probably an area that I don't have the total disagreement with maybe my colleagues and maybe my caucuses. I am a big fan of school resource officers. And I know there are times that there are people that feel that it's over-policing having those school resource officers. I believe that those school resource officers are there for a number of reasons. One being to build partnerships and to build relationships. And I'm not saying that we disagree on that, but I know I have colleagues, when I was in the House, I had some of my colleagues were totally in disagreement with my approach to that. I would not mind seeing school resource officers in all of the schools. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that. But it's something that I'm a huge fan of. And so maybe that's an area. But other than that, one of the things that we're able to do is we're able to talk through a lot of things. And maybe we don't agree, but we don't publicly come out. And I won't publicly come out and call her out. I can guarantee you that. And I know she won't.